Welcome to Learn to Play the Syko Way. I'm not a professional, I'm not an expert, but I do have some tips and tricks that might help a beginner continue the learning process rather than give up and quit, which would be a shame. So in this series, I hope to cover certain subjects as guitar tricks, just basic tricks and licks and little things that will make you sound like you know what you're doing right from the beginning. We will also be covering, chords. Yes, it's kind of hard, some of them, but we're going to make it easy. So don't worry, don't get scared. This is for beginners. We're going to touch on scales, and this is going to be kind of comprehensive, but it'll be worth it. And then we will get into songwriting. That's right, songwriting, and in a way where you won't even need an instrument. These tips and tricks for songwriting can be used for any instrument. Piano, guitar, bass, trumpet, whatever. So even choruses, vocals. So I have a little craft project where we're going to make a cycle of key wheel that is designed specifically to work in conjunction with the magic formula, a songwriting formula that will never fail you. So you're going to want to stick around for that. This is a big reveal. Hello. We are live. I don't know how this is going to go. So bear with me. We got a lot going on. But yeah, far too often I see or hear about people that wanted to learn how to play guitar. They got a guitar, they tried, they gave up, and they regret it. And they say, hey, I couldn't do it. It didn't sound good. It sounded like crap. But there's an easier way, guys. And I wish someone had showed me a lot of stuff sooner. And, it took me a long time to learn all the stuff I know. I don't, dude, I'm no expert. Like I said in the intro, I play by ear. I learn by ear. Only later on did I try to understand the music more. I mean, I was in music all through school. I played the saxophone, yay. Um, but I only went so far with it. You know what I mean? And I wasn't interested in that instrument, so I kind of spaced that off a little bit. But I did other things like chorus and music fundamental classes and shit like that. So I mean, I've got a good grasp of what's going on. I just don't have a good working relationship with the knowledge. And so, like I said, I not too recently, but later on, after playing for years and years and years, I I started looking into scales and the notes on this damn fretboard here. Um, the stuff that drives beginners crazy, I mean, chords that you gotta be a freaking contortionist, right? To freaking get what the heck? And there's easy ways, and there's no such thing as the wrong way. I say it all the time. I mean, you can hear the difference between Jimi Hendrix and um, Stevie Ray playing the same tune, right? Um, but within like two or three notes, you can tell which one the song, which who's playing the song, um, and it's all guitar tone. And believe it or not, how they play it. Stevie Ray is not playing it exactly like Jimi Hendrix. He's playing the exact thing Jimi Hendrix plays, but he's doing it his way. Yeah, like for example, part of the songs they do, Jimmy plays up around the seventh fret, fifth fret, up in here, and uh, Stevie Ray just plays the same damn thing, but it's down in the open position, and it's right. So there's more than one way to do these things, guys. Don't just get a book and get frustrated and say, I can't fucking do this. Dude, it's way simpler than it's made out to be. You can break it down, and that's what I sort of tried to do. Um, I have like a notebook over here on the side with all the notes I used to take and shit when I was studying this, because I got this huge book. You gotta see this. Alright, if you really want to get serious about this shit, like dead serious, look for this book, okay? It's way super technical. This is like college level friggin' Juilliard kind of crap, okay? It covers absolutely everything. And I use this as reference when I'm doing my research, studying how this shit works. I mean, I haven't gone through the whole thing. This thing is monstrous, and there's so many friggin' notations and weird friggin' color coded dots, and it's it's something. But I call that the Guitar Player Bible, because it anything and everything you need to, want to, or didn't even know you needed to know about the guitar and music theory based around the guitar is in that book. Um, but like I said, I play by ear, so I have difficulty following the notes and all and the keys, and so I started. In order to sound good, okay, we're gonna get right into this right from the beginning. Okay, beginners, this is a cheat code for beginners. Okay, you gotta know. You gotta know what a power chord is. Okay, I'm in drop D. I'll get into that too, but let me go back up to E. So a lot of this is all E. Scale patterns and stuff like that. I want to be in the actual tuning to show you the right patterns and stuff. Which is really this is going to be a long video, folks. Buckle up. I hope you're really interested, because this is going to make shit so easy. First thing is the power chords, right? It's just two notes. I've demonstrated them before. And a great practice that I try to get, like, people who ask me how to play, I tell them, try this song first, and it's Alice in Chains' Angry Chair. And there's like 3 riffs to the whole song. There's not much to memorize. It's pretty easy, but the whole basic point of me asking people to learn that song first, kind of, is to get you used to the power chord. And it is just 2 strings, see, the top string and the next one down, the E and the A string. I'm going to try to get in the habit of using the note names here, so bear with me. So the E and the A string, okay, and you're going to leave a fret in between. Okay, so you got a space of 3 frets here. 1, the one you don't touch, and 3. Okay, so you always have that gap. Now, when you go down to the open, you got to pretend there's one more fret, that open. And when you do that and you slide down, you notice all you got to hold is that bottom one. So now, and you can play those anywhere on this fretboard. Another big example of the use of these power chords, and like mainly only these power chords for like the beginning of their career, Green Day. Green Day Dookie. You learn power chord, just those two notes, everywhere on the fretboard with that space in between. That's like every Green Day song is made like that. Now, it doesn't just work on the top two strings. You go to the next two down, so the A and the D string, right? Just that power chord, those two strings, and the whole point, of a power chord, we get the fret cam, okay? That spacing is what it is. You're using two notes to create like a third unique tone. I think it's called a triad. I don't know. I may be wrong, but it works on E and A strings. Move down so you can see on the fret cam. That space right here in between. It works on the next two strings down, A and D, and it works on the next two down, the D and the G, my favorite string. Now, the reason these are so predominant in most music is because they're basically part of a full chord. And here we go. You got the bar chords that everybody hates. You know, you lay one finger and you mash it down as hard as you can across them all, and then you do the that E, you know, the open string E chord pattern, but with that finger where the open notes would have been down here, right? But if you take a really close look, the first two notes, get rid of all this other crap underneath, and it's just that bar chord. So, and that bar chord, the beauty of the guitar, that exact same fingering in every fret. That's why the power chords work the same way. Now, for a beginner player, to learn just power chords and start strumming away, dude, by ear. You start making stuff up from day one. As soon as you pick up the guitar, if someone says, hey, learn these two notes, just start with that. But don't be like me. Don't use your pinky, okay? I'm doing this so you can kind of get a better visual of where I'm touching. Because when you get your whole hand up here, it's hard kind of for people to see what's going on. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to keep it visually. But technically, you'd use these two fingers, right? because the other fingers would be building the rest of that full chord. So you don't have to know the whole chord. You don't have to fight with that damn bar chord and the fingering. Just start with that power chord, because that'll get your hands trained to start basically begin doing that bar chord. Because you're going to use the rest of this finger. You're pressing down hard here at your fingertip, right? But you're laying the rest of the finger down across the strings so that when you go down, you're not, you're like muting the rest of the strings just by laying it on there. So you're actually kind of subconsciously training yourself to get ready to do bar chords just by doing that power chord. And you're gonna love these, because when you get distortion, this is what they sound like. It doesn't like being tuned back and forth between E and D, so I gotta acclimate it as I go. It's all just that power chord, dude. I'm not playing a song, dude. I'm just on the fly, just bouncing around. After a while, by ear, you'll start to learn some spacings, like that's chromatic. It doesn't really have that melodic feel to it, you know, like it's not going to be a good chorus or a verse, you know. See, that's not, but if you skip a couple, so by ear, you'll start learning which intervals you like the sound of better. And don't forget, it works on top two, next two, and then the middle two. Okay, I'm taking way too long with this, but I want to make sure you grasp how easy it is to start jamming. Because all I did was add a little distortion to that, and that friggin' little two-note thing. Now, there's another aspect to these that you're gonna love, and I've said it before. Like, nobody showed me this until like I've been playing for a long time, and they were like, "Dude, what the hell?" It's called palm muting. Now we're gonna pay attention a little to the body cam, okay? Now, under here, on the bottom of your hand, on the edge, you gotta work on hand placement where you're strumming. You know, some people will be up here, all the way up here on the neck, doing. Which, I mean, you can do. You get a different sound depending on when you play. You can find your own unique thing and style. But when you're palm muting, you want to be all the way down at the bridge. And you want to be resting that edge of your hand on it, so that if you were to strum, it's not ringing the note. It's muted. Chug, chug. Okay, so when you're doing them power chords, that space in between the notes, right here, and you add that palm mute. Add a couple upstrokes. Don't just down chug. Work some strum rhythms, okay? And then you can add the full note and the chugs and alternate just by real subtle movement down here while you're strumming. Okay? And I'm going to do it fast. I'm going to do some wicked chugs. Oh, my leg is going numb. I got the wrong kind of seat for playing guitar. So there's your open strings, just open strumming, right? My fret camera's not quite where I want it. Because I adjusted me, now I gotta adjust that. There we go. And you can see up here. Okay, so I was doing just the open strumming. And then the chugs by palm muting down at the bridge. So if you go too far, the string won't hum. You got to be right on the edge of where the strings contact on the bridge, so you can still get a little bit of a vibration and a hum out of them. It's all just that power chord. And a little palm muting and alternating back and forth. I keep trying to go up because I'm used to drop D. I usually play that in drop D. You recognize that? Friggin' Green Day, right? When I come around. That's all just power chord, man. They're just two notes. And you put it anywhere. I mean, you gotta start learning the notes too. So do I, so don't feel bad. But the root note is pretty much the name of the chord. So the root note or the bass note. Okay, so if I'm playing on the 3rd fret, that 3rd fret power chord, which would also be the full bar chord. Okay, that's G, just the power chord G, and then skip up to the next dot, the 5th fret, that's A, and skip up to the next one, that's B, and then just skip 1 fret, and you know what I mean, just slide up 1 instead of skipping 1 now, go to the one right after the dot, that's C. I'll explain why you don't skip a whole fret to get to C. You don't skip a whole fret for twice. For E, between E and F, is just a half step. So we're going to get into learning the terminology here. Whole step is like, say, for example, from one dot to the next. That's a whole step. For a piano player, piano-oriented people, that's just from one white key to the next one. That's a whole step. With the ones with black in between. Alright, so whole step. I'm gonna go way off topic. I'm gonna keep rambling about shit. The whole step is the space in between. Half step would be half of that. It's just right one after the other. Half step, whole step. I'm getting an audio delay all of a sudden. Just screwing around. Half step, whole step. And messing with that palm mute. Man, when I finally, someone showed me that, I spent hours friggin' like, yeah, metal. But that's how they do it. It's just those two notes, the power chord and palm muting. So you get used to strumming down towards the bridge. Play that in drop D too. That was kind of weird. Excuse me. So just those two tips right there. Power chord and palm muting. You can jam out right away. Right away. And that's when you can start practicing strumming, because I know it's awkward. You don't know what to do up here, and then you're trying to figure out how to do it down here. Well, this is easy. Just those two notes everywhere. It doesn't matter. So you can stop thinking about that. Just get used to that spacing and just move it around. You don't even have to look. I mean, you might have to look to land on the right ones, but... It's just two notes, and you can start practicing the strumming. Get used to strumming down, strumming up. You know what I mean? Do alternate picking up and down. Like this song, what is it? If I can remember, this is going way back for me. I think I went the wrong. Anyway, I was like trying to over-accentuate the strumming so you can see how it was alternating. Yeah, I mean, so start using this power chord and just bounce around, dude, and do you. You know what I mean? Find your rhythm, find your jam, because that's where it all begins. There's no need to get technical and forget the G open position. Ooh, might be out of tune now. Chord jumping. Alright, so Don't worry about that crap. I mean, that takes practice. That's going to take time. That's the technical stuff that you're going to want to focus with, you know what I mean, in your own time and experiment with. But just to get started, dude, power chords. I can't say it enough. Power chord, power chord, power chord. Palm mute. Power chord. Palm mute. See, it doesn't have to be full distortion to sound good. You know, this is oldies kind of. You start making up lyrics, you know what I mean? Start singing along. Just two notes, dude. That's all you need to do is just memorize that friggin' position. It's so easy, dude. Now, I mentioned whole step and half step for a reason. We're going to get a little more, you know, okay. So put on your thinking caps, but it's not going to be that hard. That's the whole point of this. I'm going to make it easy. Okay. There are many different scales. There are many different keys. There's minors. There's majors. Don't worry about that yet. Okay. I don't know that crap. I have a limited knowledge of it, but I don't use it. Okay. Um, every scale or every key has a particular pattern, its own specific pattern. We like patterns. Patterns make things easy, right? So what is this pattern? Well, there are several. We're gonna just keep it low key, and we're gonna keep sailing the key of C. Yeah, C, C. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so in the key of C, if you were playing piano, you don't have to worry about black keys. It's all the white keys from C to C, octave to octave. Okay, all the white keys. That's it. And if you don't know how to use the black keys on the piano, it doesn't mean you don't know how to play piano. You just only know how to play in the key of C. Yeah, like me. Because I just improvise and screw around. But in the key of C, or better yet, we'll say any major key. This could be a key of G, the key of A. The pattern's the same. The starting point changes. Okay, but the pattern. If I, let me. Oh, I'm gonna say it wrong. Whole, half. Whole, half. That's 7, right? Yeah. Okay, now what am I talking about? Whole, half. Half whole? You half whole? What are you talking about? Half step and whole step. Oh, I just brought that up a minute ago, didn't I? Half step, whole step. Whole, half. Whole, half. So 2 and then 3. Notice there's 2 halves. This is important. There's only 2 halves. Half steps. So you go whole, half, whole, half. So if I'm going to start, say, on the first dotted fret number 3, which is G, okay? If I start on G, a whole step would be the next dot. I skip that half step and go to the next dot. So there's a whole. There's one whole step, and then the next whole step would be the next dot, right? So you got G, A, B. It's 3 notes, but there was only 2 steps. So you get whole. Now you need a half. So you only go to the very next fret. So you go, okay? So there's whole half, and then from there, you take a whole step, which would be after the next dot. You know what I mean? It doesn't always line up on the dots. Don't pay attention to the dots, really, but that's just for reference for now. So there's your half. Then you're going to go another hole, and then another hole, and then another hole, because there's your three. And then one more half. Oh, look! That's G again, isn't it? There's the octave. 7 notes. 8 notes to the octave, the second G. I don't count G because twice. That's why I say there's 7 notes in a scale. Because the 8th note is, you already said that one first, dude. You're just repeating yourself at that point. So I always say there's 7. 7 notes. 7 deadly sins. 7 days in the week. I could go on. But, so yeah, whole half, whole half. And we just did it in G. Okay, we started on G, so that would be a G major scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and then your last half step back to G. Yes, it's F sharp. I'm not gonna get into the sharps and flat thing right now. But just remember there's only 2 half steps in any scale. You want a C scale, you start at C. Where is it? There's your C, right? On the 8th fret. Now next, what would you do next for the C major scale? C would be D, which would be whole half, so you get a whole step. And another whole step to E. Then your half step brings you to the actual F natural, because in C there are no black keys on the piano. There's no sharps and flats. It's all white keys, so it's a half step. So how come there's no sharp or flat? Well, if you look at a piano, there's 2 spots where there's no black key between the white keys. Those are half steps without using a black key. Don't ask me why they separated it like that. You got half steps separated with these friggin' black keys. Why couldn't you just... Because it fucks up the pattern on a piano. It doesn't screw up the pattern on a guitar, but it would screw up the pattern of the black and white keys if they put the black key in between the C and the B and the E and the F. The B, C, E, F. B, C, E, F. Remember that. This is... I foremention things because they're relevant later. B, C, E, F. The half steps, the spaces on a piano where there's no black key, and it's still a half step on the guitar though. But there's only 2 half steps in a scale, no matter what scale it is. You know, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever. You start on whatever note, and that's the root note, and you start the pattern from there. I mean, the C, there's no sharps and flats. If you go, if you go to, say, the key of G, there's 1 sharp, the F. If you go to the key of B flat, there's 2 flats. You know what I mean? Because on the guitar, the pattern doesn't change like it would have on the keyboard if they made half steps for B, C, E, and F. So this was kind of cool. That's why I love the guitar so much. It makes more sense logically, linearly, you know. Um, so yeah, but it's always going to be the whole half, whole half. Now, that I showed you how to do that in a straight line, but you see people playing scales friggin' up and down. I mean, because it's strings, you get a little section, and they move it and move it and move it, and so instead of going up in a line, you can go, up and down on the fretboard, and it's not just straight up. That would be too easy, right? If it's just between two frets all the way up. No, there's more than 2 notes per string usually. You know what I mean? And you got the half steps, and then the friggin' B string. The B string, like when you tune it, you notice you tune all of them from the certain fret except for the B string. You back up a half a step. It's getting confusing again, isn't it? Don't worry about it. All you care about is the power chord, palm muting, and whole, half, whole, half, whole, half. All you gotta worry about is the half holes. Half holes, power chords, and palm muting, dude. But there's the confusing part is there are so many ways to play the particular scale. You know what I mean? I can play the C scale, I think, in 12 different ways. 12 that I know, that I researched and wrote down and shit. There's probably more if you want to count beyond the 12th fret and doing all the same pattern over again. There's 24, but and I'm gonna go over some because you don't have to learn them all. People get so overwhelmed, like, oh my god, look at all these, I gotta know all these scales, I gotta know all these. No, you don't. And do you trust me at this point? I told you don't have to learn all the chords. You just learn that power chord, that one, just one, because it's really a bar chord, which is a full on real chord. You're just playing the first 2 notes of it anywhere. That's not confusing. The confusing part is remembering what the names of each spot is. Okay, like this is G, this is A, this is B. It doesn't matter really by ear because it's just those 2 notes, that one space between. Now, if you think about the scale and the power chord, right? When we did the scale up with the line, let's do the power chord that way. We'll do G, now a whole step. A, now a whole step. B, now a half step to C, because B and C is a half, not a whole. And now a whole step to D, and then a whole step to E, which is the 12th fret. 0 is E, 12 is E, octave. One more half step. Wait. Yeah. No. One more whole step. Forgot the F sharp. And then the half step from that to G again. I'm thinking C, like, why is there an F sharp? Oh, yeah, because we started on G. That's why I had to go to F sharp. So I'm playing a scale. If you think of just this one finger, I'm playing that G scale, but I'm adding this other note from the power chord. So I'm playing the G chord, the A chord, B chord, because it's named after the root note, the bass note, the bottom one. Again, that's easy. That's still just that one fingering everywhere, just those 2 notes. And yeah, the next two strings down, it works the same way. What's that? That's the A string, right? So A, B. The whole step would be right here, would be B. And then the half step, because B and C is a half step. So now we're on the dot, right? We like the dots. We'll hang out on the dot because that's C. So now do the power chord for C, the next string down, that same spacing. Now we're at C, D, E. Now we're on E, and we started on C. And what's after E? Another half step. E is F. There is no F flat or E sharp. That half step is E to F. Don't ask me why. Friggin' the loony jobs, classical days and shit or whatever came up with this freaking scaling situation. That's like the astrological crap. You know there's 13 signs, right? Why did we divide it up into 12? Oh, I just noticed something. Kubrick, hey. What time is... Oh, I didn't miss it that bad. Hey, I'm actually paying attention to the comments. My friend is premiering a video right now, which is about 30 minutes. Oh, dude, you can come back anytime. I totally understand. I mean, there's so many people streaming. You know what I mean? Go watch the one you want to catch live, and come back because this will be here for the replay. You know what I mean? You don't have to be. Don't worry about it, man. Don't stress. I appreciate you stopping in and checking me out, dude. Um, Kubrick Lover, 1972. Kubrick Lover. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Kubrick Lover. Kubrick has something to do with Clockwork Orange, right? The movie. Is it the actor or the director or something that made that movie? Is that one? I think that's what, I'll have to look that up. I've been wondering, curious. That just hit me. I'm like, I think that has something to do with the Clockwork Orange. I love that movie. I bought it. I got it friggin' on my iPhone. I can watch it anywhere. Get some eggy waggies and some milk or whatever the hell drug was in that white shit. Anyway, but yeah, so power chords, um, palm muting, and then the whole half, right? And you can do that with the chords. Now you're progressing chords in the key. You know what I mean? So, like, say you want to write a song in the key of C. Well, you learn all the notes in the key of C. Well, that's easy. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay? That's the first part. We'll get into more detail about this stuff towards the end because I got a craft project. I'll give you a sneak peek. Ooh, okay. A little craft project for you to make. I got a bug bite or something. I'm gonna itch. So the confusing part about the scales, this is where I really want to emphasize there is no wrong way. Like I was saying about the Hendrix and the Stevie Ray Vaughan and shit. There's no wrong way. There's your way. Okay? Someone might really love this open position scale of the G scale. I can't even remember. Oh my god, I can't go backwards. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've done this one. I know I added an extra note in that. I know I did. That's why it's messing me up. I did it wrong. go 2 octaves between all 6 strings like that. Now, like I was saying, you might love that one, but someone's telling you to do ah. All right, I mean that's 3 notes per string. Yeah, like if that's not comfortable for you. You know what I mean? Like, man, that's hard. That sucks, man. I can't do this. No, there's no wrong way. Don't do it that way. If you don't like it, if it's not comfortable, if it's not natural for you, don't do it. Find the other ways. Like I said, there are 12 at least 12. And when I say 12, I'm saying single octave. Okay, like um, if I go all the way up and down, all 6 strings, that's 2 octaves. So I'm counting that as two. Um, I wish I had like a graphic I can pull up and show you like a diagram of all these different patterns. Something I should probably work on in advance or something like this, right? Um, but it's not hard to find them. You know what I mean? You get any like diagram of the fretboard of all the notes and just circle, no sharps, no flats, just circle all the regular notes, and then start looking where you can start seeing patterns. You can make, choose your own. Like I said, I found about 12. Let me see if I can sort of demonstrate. It's been a while, so I'm probably gonna have to look. I think I had them numbered because I was doing them like in an exercise, a practice exercise. Go from one to this one to this one to this one to that one to that one. So go through all 12. Up one, down this one, up a different one, down that one. So let's see if I can. My notes are crappy looking too. I think we did. Yeah, on C. So we're on 8th fret, right? So there's my root note for the first one. I don't know if the fret cam's going to be able to pick all this up. Only 1 octave now. So you're going to get a whole step. Now you're going to go to the next string, go back up a fret, backwards, 1 fret, a half a step. The first string has 2 notes with a space between. The next string down has 3 notes, but one of those half steps is on it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then the third string down from that, it's going to be kind of like the next one, the first one, this one you just did with the half step, but now the half step's on the other side. And that's a real messy exercise because you're switching back and forth. Just practice doing that on those 2 strings. I'm trying to exaggerate my finger movement so you can see what's actually being pressed. I hate watching videos of people doing that. You can't really see what the fingers are actually touching. You know what I mean? It's frustrating. But those 2 strings, the A and the D string, the second and third string down. Where am I? Do the half step. On a half step, and then a whole step, and then a whole step, and a half step. that switching with the half step from one side to the other happens in other patterns. So practice that. Just switching the half step on with these two fingers, and then the half step with these two fingers. This two and these two, these two and then these two. Okay, so there's so many. I really wish I had the diagrams I could pop up on there. Then number 2 starts from there. And then the third one, I believe, starts from here. There's that half step switching sides again on the bottom 2 strings now. Which I did it backwards now. Where am I? I'm on the that one. And then another one. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my god. Hey, shoo! Now this one, this particular pattern, I have a name for them. I call them stretchies. You gotta learn my terminology. You're gonna play my way. You gotta learn my terminology. Stretchies. Okay, these are the ones with 3 notes on the string. Showed that a little earlier. Okay, but from here where we left off. From there, we're gonna go. See, now we're way down here. We started over here and we got up and down a couple times. Now we're over here, right? It's still the same scale. These are all the same notes. You just find the pattern that is more comfortable for you. You know what I mean? And you'll incorporate that into your soloing style. You get used to doing that scale pattern. You know, you're more familiar with it because it's the pattern. We're playing it in C right now, but the freaking pattern works everywhere. All of them work the same everywhere for every damn note, every key, every scale. Like, I lost my place now. Okay, I was on the stretchy. I was on I ended on C. Yeah, the stretchy was. There's 2 different forms of the stretchy. You got they all have the 3 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the 3rd string in that scale sometimes has a half step with these 2 fingers. And sometimes it's these. Depending on where we start. Because of that damn B string half step shift, right? When you tune the guitar. Weird, right? Yeah. So we were on C. And now we're going to go up from there. I believe it would be the open position, which is not. Yes, it is. It's right there. Yeah. I got lost. Where am I? Right here. Okay, so we're still playing the damn C scale. Now, from here, I think it was another stretchy. I think, where am I? 5, 6. They're scattered all over, but I got them numbered. Yeah, the next one from here would be a stretchy, but and since we're on the second string from the end, there's only 2 strings to go up the scale. So the first part, the the B string, start on C, the first fret. You do 3 notes, 3 whole steps, because this is a stretchy. So like any other stretchy, the next string has the same 3 note, well, the same pattern, 3 frets, 3 notes on the string. Now that's 6 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't have another string to get that last note, but you know what? I'm pretty sure that's a half step, because we're going from B to the octave, the C, right? So it's that doesn't sound right, does it? Oh, I missed a note. That wasn't 6 notes, that was only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the octave. 8. I keep thinking in sevens, I forget that the 8. So you got whole step, whole step, whole step. Now you're making half steps doing these, but you're not noticing it because it's between the shift between strings. And the pattern has whole steps, but the actual scale, there are half steps in there. You just don't see them because, like I said, you're going from one string to the next. There's a half step in there. You just don't see it as a step because you're swapping strings. So that's why it looks like there's, hey, he's just said whole, half, whole, half, but he's just went whole, half. Like, no, it's C to D is a whole, D to E is a whole, E to F, first fret on the next string, is a half step. So you don't have to play that one with your pinky either. So you can make it more comfortable for yourself. You could do 2 notes, and then the open. There's so many different ways. But so now we're all the way up here after doing a couple of stretchies, which was what number was I on? I was on number 6. We're on number 7. My favorite one. Okay, I love this one because it looks backwards. You're going down the scale, but you're going to go up the fretboard. Yeah. Did that look weird or what? But it sounded right, right? I mean, now going up the scale, I'm going to go back up it. And instead of going higher notes, on, like, you go higher, it actually goes lower as the notes go higher. And I like this one because it's really, it's like walking, because you get a half step on the first part, the E string. And then the next one, you slide down and go to you slide down a fret and do a whole step. So it's half step, shift, whole step. So half step, shift, whole step, shift, half step, shift, whole step. So you walk it down. And it's weird. It's like a half and a whole and a half and a whole. But like I said, by shifting strings, you're adding those extra wholes and half steps. So we're still doing whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. It just doesn't look that way. Okay? So I can't stress that enough. I do know what I'm talking about as far as this is going. So far, I'm on point. Okay? And I know this is a lot to take in, but again, recap. Power chords, easy, everywhere. Palm muting makes it sound cool. Okay? So you can practice your strumming. And then the scales, find the ones you like. Because, like, the stretchy one, works everywhere, just depending on what you start. You start on the C, that's a C scale. You start on the D, you started on the D. It's a D scale. You start on E, it's E. I don't know. So don't worry too much about the scale itself. Find the scale pattern or patterns. Find a couple, you know what I mean? Search around, find a couple different patterns that are easy for you to remember, both mentally and muscly. Muscly, I'm making up words tonight. I must be getting late. I'm getting goofy. But yeah, so I don't think I just did all 12. I think I stopped on like 8 or 9. But the point is, there are so many. So you don't have to learn it this way. It has to be done like this. No, you don't. If you're having trouble with that scale, look around for it in another location. And you can get, you know, people are going to get all technical, like, oh, but it has a different tone. It's in a different location. It sounds different, but it's still the same notes. It's not really that big a deal. And like I said, the difference between Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan. You can hear Stevie Ray Vaughan's open compared to Jimmy's friggin'. Yeah, I mean, if you listen to them both back to back, you can hear the difference. But does it matter that much? They're both freaking awesome, right? They're both right. They're both correct. I mean, if you lay it down and give someone a piece of sheet music instead of a tablature, which says, "Hey, put your finger here, use these ones, do it this way." If you give someone the sheet music, it says, "Hey, play a G scale." Okay, which one? What do you mean, which one? Play a friggin' G scale. Like, but there's so many. So play one. They're all right. They're all the one. You know what I mean? It won't matter. I mean, there will be the whole octave thing. You know what I mean? But that's on the music. You know what I mean? Depending if it's the G on the G clef down low. You know what I mean? Then you're gonna be at a friggin' probably. I don't know where is that in the middle of the fretboard G, or is that G? But then when you go up higher on the friggin' sheet music, and you know, and it's the G up over at the top. They got extra lines above the staff to mark where the notes above that are. Yeah, so no, that's not going to be that one, but that would be D C D E. F, G, 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 F. that one would be the one on the higher end of the friggin', the staff. I mean, but you could also be playing it down here. Where is it? C, D. There's your G down here. You can start here. It could be this one. Or it could be oh, I'm doing the wrong pattern for starting down there. Doing that pattern, the next string down was, I didn't get to that number yet. There's a shift. That's the minor. Where is it? Where is it? I lost it. Oh. I'm doing it backwards, that's why. I know what I'm doing, I swear. I mean, it could be that G scale, or it could be... It doesn't matter. I can't stress that enough. That's why I keep saying it's actually easy, guys. It's just made to look confusing, so, like, only the elite few know how to... No, dude, no, dude. Anybody can do this shit. I swear to God. Like, just jamming out with power chords. If I can do it, dude, I can fake it all day long. You can. Right? Just power chord. Okay. I went a little too far. I got ahead of myself. I want to show you, like, the tricks, okay? Now that you're able to jam, we got a little bit of scale thing, I got it, this little seed in there. We got to work a lot more on scales, but I just wanted to emphasize there's no wrong way. Do it right. Hey, he's back. Kubrick Lover 1972. Hey, what's up, dude? Um, it's late. I'm getting goofy again. But yeah, the power chords, the palm muting, the power chords being just the base for the bar chord. So, use the power chord. It'll train you to do bar chords later on. But it's just so easy just to do those two notes everywhere. It's everywhere. It works everywhere. That's why it's easy. It's just those two notes. One space in between. Two strings. Now you could skip a string and do an octave because it's the same note instead of the power chord. Skip a string. So right there, just knowing that space between three strings is an octave, all your notes in your scale are going to be based pretty much around there. I put the half step on the wrong side. I made it a minor. I started getting, like, I've been listening to flamenco music all day. Don't ask. Again. I can't play like that, but I've been listening to it all day. So anyway, let's go back. Like I said, I want to show you some tricks now. Stuff that makes you sound like, you can solo and do cool stuff. The very most basic trick is obviously the hammer on or the pull off. Hammer on, you just pluck once and then hammer the fret the next note. That was a slide. And the pull off is the backwards. You hit the note and then pull off and let one go down. Hammer on, pull off. So then a hammer on, pull off, or a trill. That's all you're doing is hammering and pulling off. I suggest practicing one-handed. Your back of your arm will burn. Don't do it too much and burn it up and like, damage the muscles. Just do it, get it warm, and relax. Do it some more, get it warm, relax. Work it out. Do it smart. Don't friggin' work yourself into a cramp and friggin' get all gimped because I play guitar too much. You just start going into seizures. Your muscles start cramping up, and you can't do anything. Like the angriest guitar player, he starts throwing his guitar and shit. I love that video. That was so fun. But anyway, I sort of cheat with my slide. I take it up really quick. Yeah, the slide thing. I have one somewhere. I don't know what I did with it. That's basically a good start for bar chords. You put it on this finger, the first finger. Some people put it on the middle finger. Some people, depending on what finger. But yeah, when you do that, you got. And with the slide, you just add a couple more notes. In front of it, you'd have the chord. But we're cheating. We're not doing full chords. We're just doing the power chord. Just those two notes. But yeah, so we did the hammer-ons, right? And the pull-offs. Now, there's two-hand hammer-ons they're fun. They get annoying, but once you get practice and get the timing good, they're really cool. Because you're gonna tap on the fretboard instead of strumming. You're gonna tap and do a hammer-on and pull-off. So there's your two-hand hammer-ons, and they work everywhere. And that's where you can get into the scales I was showing you. You can use those scale patterns in your tap patterns and how you move around and solo out over these scales. Instead of stretching over the 3 for the stretchy scales, you can you can experiment with that scale with the hammer-ons and the taps and stuff, and you can use more notes, different fret areas that'll be the same notes, but down here instead of up close, you can find. Yeah, Eddie Van Halen does a lot of finger tapping. He most certainly did. And I'm playing with like not much distortion or anything, kind of clean, so it kind of sounds hokey, which is what beginners are going to do. That they're not going to have all the cool effects and the toys and stuff, and they're going to try doing this, going, man, this sounds like crap. Practice it though, because when you get the right stuff, practice them. You know, but, nothing's gonna hurt experimenting with the spacings and the different scale patterns and working them in. Like I said, there's like at, at the very least 12 different scale patterns you can look, get used to. And like I said, find the ones that work better for you. Don't be forcing yourself to learn the ones that, you know, totally distort your hands and friggin' cramp you out and stuff. Find the ones that work better for you. Um, because you'll use those for those, the tapping and stuff once you get to know the patterns and become like, uh, kind of like driving. Remember when you first got a new car, or you go get a new car and you're fumbling around to figure out how to turn on the radio and find this button and where are the headlights. How do I do the high beams? And like a couple weeks into it, you're not even looking. You're hitting the buttons. You know what I mean? So you just got to do it, and eventually, when you get used to those patterns, they become part of your muscle memory, and they just kind of effortlessly you'll know the spacings to sound better. Like for instance, this spacing. It's kind of neat, but it's kind of got a dissonant quality to it. But if I move and change the spacing, I mean, that was a better, So you'll get using the certain patterns, you'll get used to what spacings work better for some of those taps and stuff. Um, Another really cool trick, yeah, the delay and the reverb kick ass and make it sound like, smooth. It took me forever to find out how people make their guitar sound so sweet like that. Their mind always sounded rough and like, what the hell? And oh, they got all this good stuff. Yeah, reading and writing music, it's I'm actually gonna cover that, so don't worry. And I've got a cool tool. I've got a really cool tool you can make at home that will help you with using music, the notes, and all this that I'm showing you kind of right here. I'm just like blowing over so much, dude. It's a lot to take in. Uh, my main goal is to like kind of give people the tools, excuse me, to help them continue learning on their own. So you don't need someone showing you this and that. You know how to figure out how to find that. Oh yeah, I covered that a little earlier in the video. The guitar players do sound different. Different guitar. Each guitar player has their own technique. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, the like these 12 different scales that I've been messing with. Certain ones will sound different. You know what I mean? And certain players get used to the more comfortable scales for them, and that kind of becomes their tone, their signature style. That's why I say don't sweat trying to learn all of it. Just find the ones that work good for you. Because once you find, like, say, just one scale pattern that you like, I'm going to go with the box pattern. I call it the box pattern because. Where is it? Which one is it? Oh, I'm thinking of something else, aren't I? Oh, what was it? Where was it? I got my notes. They're all messy. Oh, the box pattern. Box pattern. Let's get into box pattern. So I was mentioning earlier. This is a big help. I tried this technique out on a kid, and like within an hour, he could say, "This is that note. This is that note. This is that note. This is that note." I mean, like within like an hour or two, I just showed him this technique, and he was like right on the point. And I was like, "Holy crap!" I mentioned earlier the B, C, E, F. If you're looking at a piano, those are the keys without a black space in between them. No, I'm not really a music teacher, but like being a guitar player, I was like, oh, dude, can you show me how to? Can you show me some stuff sometime? And I had a kid that I ended up. I had a cleaning business, and he worked at the restaurant that I was cleaning, and he wanted to learn how to play guitar. I needed some help cleaning, so when he closed the restaurant, he would stay and clean with me. And then after we got done with my work, cleaning all my restaurants, I'd take him home with me, and we'd spend hours freaking. He just, because I had a couple guitars, so he had one to try out and mess around with. I could teach him and show him this and that. And I ended up buying him a guitar so he'd have one at home to practice and leave mine the fuck alone. Like, dude, just get your own, come on. But no, and he loved it, and he still plays now. He has a couple guitars now. But yeah, I mean on the side for friends and stuff. I'm not an actual teacher. I haven't done real lessons. Like what I'm doing right now is probably the gist of my lessons too. What guitar is this? This one? This is my bitch. My BC Rich. It's a Warlock. BC Rich Warlock. When I was a kid, I always wanted the ones with that A-shaped body. That was like my biggest goal in life, and I finally got one. Some people like the flying V, and all the. For some reason, this body shape was just so. I was like, I have to have one. I have to have one. I finally have one. It's base model. Not the full-on decked out expensive ones, but I have one. So, what year? I don't know. I have no idea. I've had this thing for more than 10 years myself. I don't know what year. What does it say anywhere on it? No, just the serial numbers and an inspection sticker. I think I'd have to take the neck off. I think they write it on the bottom, on the inside of the body or in the neck. I've seen some writing in some before like that. Maybe it's labeled there. I'm not sure what year. It's a good question. I don't know what year like any of my guitars are really. I know my HM Strat, my Fender Strat, is like from the 80s when they were trying to do the dual humbucking and failed. For some reason, it didn't take off until like the Jackson Soloist and stuff came out. And then they came back, the Fender started doing it again. But I know that one's from the 80s. The rest, I have no idea. But yeah, so anyway, these pickups, they just say BC Rich on them. I don't know if they're Damasio's, that they make. They put their own cap on or what. I'm not sure. Just regular dual humbucking. No, dual. The humbuckers are the electronic ones that I bought for my Fender. The EMGs. Oh, those are EMGs. The humbucker. I think the humbucker. It's been so long, dude. I used to take these things apart, rewire them, friggin' swap parts and stuff. I used to know all this shit. It's been so long. Yeah, I used to have a Squire Strat. My very first guitar was a Squire. By the way, if other people watching are like, dude, what the hell is he doing? I'm talking to one of my followers in the live chat, in the comments and stuff. So just so you can talk to me and I'll respond if I'm paying attention to that screen at the time. Sometimes I space it off and people make comments and I don't see them until the end of the show and stuff. Yes, I do that to most of mine. I lower the action. I don't like them way high up off the fretboard. Pain in the butt. I hate that. You push down hard. A lot of acoustics have a lot higher action like that, and man, that's hard sometimes. Yeah, I lower my action a lot. I do that, I sometimes I'll even raise the pickups, adjust the pickup height for the against the strings, to get a better sound. You get them down too low, it kind of doesn't sound quite right. They're not really that loud. You get too close and they get really kind of grungy and nasty and distorted, like overloaded sounding. Get them to find that sweet spot where they really pick up everything and man, they start to scream. Uh, some more tricks that I was going to show. I got the distortion going now, which is perfect for this. Um, this I call it an octave bend. I showed you the octave between the two strings. You skip a string, right? Well, if they go down to like the G and the B string, so and you take the G string and you gotta bend it up, and then the next string down, go a whole step back and find that same note. And that's kind of got that like Jimi Hendrix friggin' screamy wail sound, you know what I mean? And then you throw a couple of those hammer-ons, right? Now, all these little tricks, you just got to know where to touch the fretboard to make them sound good. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. But yeah, I love that octave bend. And yes, I add the wah wah to that. It makes it sound so sweet. Cause I like to dive down and then sweep up to the higher tones. So I'll do it without the pedal. Another really sweet guitar trick is the pinch harmonic. The all holy pinch harmonic, dude. I'm not even using a pick, so I hit them really easy because what you do to get the pinch I got a pick now. When you do the pinch harmonics, when you hold the pick, you want the string, when you strum it, to actually rake across your finger too, so it kind of mutes it right after. So, like if I'm strumming down, I want to flick the string with my pick, but then I want my thumb to hit it too. Okay? And when you do that, it mutes the string. And if you hit it, there's a couple of spots on down here at the body. It has to do with the spacing, okay? And you'll get the harmonic. Instead of a mute, you'll get the harmonic. That's why there's a Metallica song, you hear this. You hear it's got that kind of, oh, what's that effect? A Doppler effect. And I'm not using any pedals or anything to do that. I'm just picking and going down the string and picking it from different spots, changing the distance between the note and where I'm picking. Well, there's a couple of sweet spots that you can get harmonics. Yeah, I have an like a Predator. I think it's like an ESS emulator or something like that. You can set it to like 3 notes, 5 notes, 6 notes. Goes starts sounding a lot like the ELO stuff. And, I think it's Electrolyte or no, Liquid Tension Experiment. I don't know if you ever heard of that band, but they got some pretty sick stuff, and there's a lot of appreciated. It's crazy stuff. But yeah, there's a pedal that can make you do that too, or you can do like the hammer-ons, the two-hand. Yeah, I mean, that's basically arpeggiated too. A lot of people do like the sweep picking to do arpeggiations too. And Dominic, how's it going? Glad to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Good evening, Sensei. Sensei. That's funny. The kid I used to friggin' teach, me and Kubrick were just talking about him. I had him working for me, and I teach him good guitar for to pay him. He used to call me Sensei. Yes, Sensei. I don't know if you noticed, but I used that in a song, like a rap or something. I threw that in there because of him calling me Sensei. So I say, yeah, Master, you Sensei, blah, blah, blah. It's funny that you say that. Um, yeah, right now, so far, I'm musically illiterate. I showed you the power chords, using them anywhere. You don't have to know the notes. Just play it by ear. You know what I mean? And get used to the spacings. Like I said in the beginning, you'll get used to the spacings that sound right to you. Like, so you might be playing it in minor or major or whatever, but you, how you hear it, you know what I mean? How it works for you. You don't have to know the note to friggin', like I was jamming, what was it, the Green Day? Get rid of that delay. So it just the power notes just by ear. I don't know what notes those are. I just know by ear that and I mess up because I'm doing it by ear too. But just learn the certain patterns. Like I said with these scales, you learn a certain pattern. Don't worry about the notes in that scale. Learn that pattern because it works everywhere. And when you get into learning the root note, then you'll be able to learn how to use those scales to follow chords and other progressions. But for now, you know what I mean, as a beginning, just going by ear, practice the power chords, practice the strumming and the palm muting, and look up these scale patterns. Like I said, I found over 12, and find the ones that are more comfortable and easier to remember and easier for you to play. And that's drop D, yes. That's another thing I was going to get into when I was doing power chords. I kind of forgot. The power chord and the spacing, you get that cool metal sound if you get the distortion. But if you drop D, you're actually changing this and moving this note up. Okay, so that you can play the same thing with just the one finger. It's all that is that power chord. But by lowering that note, you have to move this finger up to get it on the right note again. And that's why it works as one finger after you do the drop. Watch. Said, it doesn't like going back and forth between. I gotta kind of acclimate it as I do it. That's the same power chord, but now you move that note, you loosen that string and made it a lower tone, so you have to move your finger up higher to get the right note to make that power chord again, and that makes it easy. It's one finger. And that's how I made that wicked tools of the divine in the hands of the wicked with the drop D. She loves the D, baby. Then drop that D. So if you want, cheating, after learning the power chords, you learn how to do the drop D. That's kind of cool. But I still recommend learning the power chord because you're training your hands, your muscle memory to get ready for the bar chords. Because you're already in that position. You just need to add a few more, drop a couple the other two fingers, and you've got a full chord. But that's why I recommend doing the power chords and learning like the Alice in Chains Angry Chair. It's 3 simple riffs, and it's all based around the power chords, and it helps get you into that mentality of playing bar chords without really playing the whole bar chord. Now there's another cheat for bar chords, okay, that I just remembered it, and I almost forgot. I almost forgot doing it tonight. It's something that Hendrix kind of taught me. But when I was, learning how to play Hendrix shit, I figured like, hey, I know what he's doing here. Oh my gosh! So I'm gonna tune it back up. Okay, and then the bar chord, when you lay your finger across here, and then you get your power chord, the next note, and then the next two. Alright, if you think about that, how would I cheat that? I'm already cheating it by doing just the power chord at the top. But I want a more chordy. So let's go clean for this. Let's get it. Alright, so, and I don't want to play this bar chord to get this, that harpy higher string, No, I played it wrong. But so how would I get that sound while actually playing that bar, mashing that finger? Well, Hendrix has a really cool fix for that. First of all, he still wants that root note, that bass note. So what he does is he puts his thumb over. Okay? Which is kind of hard. I mean, a lot of people can't do it. Some guitars, the necks are wider, some are skinnier. But he wraps his hand around his thumb, and then he only plays the bottom half of that bar chord, which is basically just 3 notes, three positions. Let's say on the D with this finger, okay, and then the next string down, the G string, the next string down, and the next fret, like you were gonna be if it was the bar chord, right? And then just do the bottom 2 strings of that bar chord. So you're doing 1, 2, 3, and this one 4 as well. Like down a step, down a step. And again, you don't need to know the name of the chord, just how to make it, because it works at every spot. Like I said, Jimmy will wrap his thumb around. Instead of playing the full. So it's just, just the bottom half. And then you throw in if you know anything about chords, the D chord, that little triangle down here. It also works everywhere. But mix them up, the D chord pattern and that Jimi Hendrix cheat bar chord pattern. I missed. I'm playing. These fingers aren't moving. I'm just sliding it around. So you know what I mean? They're it's so much easier than people make it out to be because there's so much you can learn. Hey Austin, I see it. 11:46. Oh, and I only missed it by a minute. I'm on point tonight, dude. I'm following the chat. I'm actually moving right along with my lessons here. Um, I I touched a little bit on some tricks and the basics for like the power chords and the palm muting and finding scale patterns that are more comfortable for you. Like I said, if you look at the tablature, it'll tell you to play this fret, this fret, this fret. But if you're reading sheet music, it says, "Hey, play a G scale." Well, I mean, there's a dozen different ways to play the G scale, so there's no wrong way to play it. Just play it your way. And so I could go on and on about these scales because then we could go into like the different pattern instead of the whole half, whole half. There's the minor pattern, which is I think it was kind of backwards from. I think it's one space. Where is it? I have it. It's right here. Oh, I had it written. I have it written. I've got all the different scale patterns diagrammed. Oh, there it is. Yeah. It's whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, half step, whole half, whole half, half. Say that 3 times fast. Again. Whole half, whole half, whole half, half. Whole half, whole half, whole half, half, whole half. I'm a half hole in again. I'm being in a half hole. But it just and again with the minor, there are like about a dozen patterns on the fretboard to play the same scale. So don't get frustrated not being able to, your fingers don't want to move this way. Maybe you don't like that one. Find one that's more comfortable. There's like 12 different patterns. And, mix them up. Learn out of the 12, learn 3 different scale patterns. Because then you play them anywhere. Once you've learned one, you've learned them all. Like if you can play one scale, C to, for C A D, G B A D, blah blah to C, move it up a fret, do the same thing. That's the D scale. Move it up a fret. That's the E. Move it up a fret. You know what I mean? It's the same pattern. So that one pattern will play every scale. And that's why I keep saying it's easy. People think, oh my God, there's 7 notes, that's 7 different keys, and then there's 7 different scales. And no, it's the same pattern. You know what I mean? It can be just one pattern for all the different scales. So you gotta look, you gotta break it down instead of trying to look at the whole broad fretboard. That you know what I mean? There's it's so much easier. Um, I did skip over something I wanted to bring up, and it's learning the notes on the fretboard. Okay, I'm gonna teach you my technique. I think I've seen some videos of other people copying this technique, but I've been doing it for a couple of decades. So who's copying who, right? Um, but like I mentioned with the keyboard, the B, C, and E, F, there's no black key between them, which means there's no step between them. and it's still a whole note from E to F. It's not E, E sharp, F. It's E, F. Whereas it would be D to E, you would have the D sharp in between. For some reason, this weird spacing, right? But it's always B, C, E, F are the half steps. I don't know if I have a diagram that I can pull up in front of the camera because you got to see this pattern. It's really simplifies everything. And I don't think I have it on this. Yeah, I think it's a separate. Oh, no, no, no. I do. I didn't go back far enough. Here we go. I don't know if this is going to make any sense, if you're going to be able to see this. Where am I? Right here, my finger. Where's my finger? This finger. Over here. Okay, this here. I don't know if. Yeah, it's not going to be. You notice I kind of drew the fretboard. See the black dots up top representing the fret markers, the double one being the 12th fret. And I've written down the notes only in certain spots. Those certain spots are all the B, C's, and E, F locations. Okay? Now, if you, starting from the open position, you see, obviously your first note, I keep moving the wrong way, is E, open. The next fret is F. But then look what happens on the next string. You got your B, C right there, a fret away. So there's a half step, and then there's the other half step, and then there's another half step right above it, or below it, because that's, the high E string is up here on this diagram. So I call these boxes where the B, C, and the E, F's overlap into like a square. Oh. And then, oh, I didn't mean to touch that, but hey, Austin, I just highlighted your comment. Yeah, once you get the scales down, you can do a lot of better soloing because you can incorporate it over scales, chords and stuff. But where am I going? Reading the notes. So you notice these patterns, they're kind of diagonal. And all they are the B, C, E, F's. So I've got what I call on one side, near the open end, near this open end right here, I call this the stagger. Because you got EF and then a little bit of a box, and then it staggers over, and it staggers over, and staggers over. But then over here, at like the 7th fret, the 8th fret, you got these two boxes. The B, C, E, F overlap in the box, and then another box, and then another box. It skips a fret, and there's another box on the last two strings. So you got box, box, box. B, C, E, F, B, C, E, F, B, C, E, F. So if you can like draw this and highlight just all the B, C, E, Fs and get a good look at this. I know this. I need to create like an image to pop up on the screen for this because I really need to make some diagrams. But the whole point of that is B, C, E, Fs. You can see the patterns, okay? Especially that box one as a box, 4 notes, and then move over more 4 notes. If you think about it, B, C, E, F. If you can remember where all the B, C, E, Fs are, where all those half steps are, you've only got 3 more notes to make the full scale. And all of those notes are always going to be a whole step away from any of the B, C, E, Fs. So if you memorize where all those half steps are, there's a whole step on this side and a whole step on that side. Bam, you're 1 note away from already knowing the whole damn scale, knowing where all the notes are. So yeah, like I really recommend. I wish I had a diagram because you got to see these pattern. You know, once you see that pattern, it like clicks. Like, wait a minute. Okay, so if I memorize that, I got B C E F B C E F B C E F. That's like here, and then it was skip one. Ah. So if this is B and C and E and F, right? Get the fret cam going. I think it fell a little bit. Where are we? Here we are. Fret cam. Let's. Oh, I'm clicking stuff I don't want to. Okay, there. Fret cam. You can see my hand up here. The B, C, E, F. That's B, C, E, F. That little box right there. Right? So, like I said, now to do a scale, you need a whole step. You need whole steps. Well, B, C, after the C, that's a whole step. So you skip a fret. So that's D. You know after C is D. You know your alphabet, right? So learn your B, C. Oh, I know D's after C, and it's a whole step. Or A is a whole step before the B. As you're at the E, F, the next string. So if I go B, C, give it a whole step, get the D. Now go down the next string because that's E, B, C, D. Now your E, F's, E, F, another half step, and do another whole step. That looks like an easy scale. Half, half, whole, half, half, whole. And it works on the other side too because you got your A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C. That whole step before the B, C, and E, F's is your A, D. And of course, one more whole step for your G. All right. So my major recommendation is to memorize just the B, C, E, F pattern. And then get in that mentality that those are always going to be the half steps. Any other note is a space away. And that kind of makes it really easy to, once you get that diagonal, the diagonal pattern down here by the open position, and then that box pattern right here. And then once you get here, that's the 12th fret. That's the same as up there. That's that diagonal pattern again, and then the box again. So all you gotta know is that B, C, E, F up here for your open stuff, and the B, C, E, F's right here, and you'll know all the notes around those and all the notes around those two. Just learn those two patterns, and then you'll actually memorize the notes on the fretboard. I tried it on a kid, and within an hour or two, I was like, okay, what's this one? He's like, oh, E, oh, F, oh, like, and he was right on. Of course, I'm slow. I've been playing for decades by ear. Retraining myself to do that is not as easy as it sounds, but a beginner starting out doing that from the start is going to have such an advantage. Like, you're not even going to believe it. If you can memorize the notes and learn how to, if someone says, hey, play a B, you jump right to it, any of them. There's your B, whatever. That makes things a lot easier. The Jaws theme. Yeah. No, the black step, the keys on the piano, the black keys are half steps, but they're the sharps and flats. And like I'm just dealing with the key of C right now to teach the note locations on the fretboard. You learn all the natural notes, A through C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Um, but when you think of it that way on a keyboard, that shows you that those two notes, the B, C, and the E, F, there's no black key in between them, which would be, a half step on the guitar. But on the keyboard, it's a half step, but it's not done with a black key. And they do it that way to keep the pattern repetitious on the keyboard. Because if you put a black key between the E and the F and the B and the C, then for one thing, it's all just black, white, 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 black, white. There's no reference point. When you split it up and you get the 3 and the 2 with the black keys, that kind of gives you a focal point. You can jump. Okay, between these ones is a G. Between these two single ones is the C. You know what I mean? It makes it quick and easy. But if they were all in a line, how would you know which one was C or G? You know what I mean? So they made that spacing as like a reference, yeah, and to keep it repetitious. But unfortunately, that makes the patterns on when you're playing piano, the scale patterns are all different. But because the guitar is linear and does have all half steps between everything, you can memorize where those half steps are, and then, like I was saying, anything a whole step away from those is your other notes, and it's only 3 notes. If you memorize the pattern in like 5 minutes looking at it, now you already know where 4 notes are everywhere on the fretboard. You know where all the B's are and where all the C's are, all the D's and I mean all the E's and all the F's. And all you have to do is think a whole step away from any of those is the next note in the scale. You don't even know you don't have to know it. Just know I've done a half step. Well, I need to do a whole step now. Because after or before any half step is going to be a whole step in the scale. So if you've done a half, in order to sound good, do a whole step after that half, and a whole step before it. So if you know where all those halves are, then you automatically know the whole steps are going to be after that, and it works. It made stuff click. I don't know why. Yeah, 2017 he started playing guitar. I started playing. Jeez, I started borrowing, sneaking people's guitars. I used to sneak into the band room at school, and then sneak into one of the practice rooms where a kid was keeping his guitar, and I'd sneak in there and I'd pluck around on his guitar. Like, Christ, that was 92-ish, 90, early 90s when I really started picking up guitar. Because I played saxophone from grade school on up into junior high, but once around junior high, I really wanted to. I knew I was into strings more than anything, so I started like borrowing people's guitars and trying. Hey, can I try that? Can I? Eventually, I finally got my own, and then the collection happened. But we touched on some basics, especially with the scales. Like I said, that one's going to be a little more in depth, and I've been going on forever about it. There is something special. I do want to get to this tonight. This wheel I made. I took it apart. You get a paper plate, 2 paper plates, and you fold the plate in half, fold it in half again, and then fold that into 3, like split the difference. Okay, or fold it half in half and then the half back over, so you end up, okay. The reason you fold it that many times because you want equal segments. You want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sections even, okay? Because there are 12 notes. Counting the sharps and flats, I mean, I know I keep saying there's only 7 in the scale, 8 if you count the octave, but if you count a chromatic scale, all the notes between here and here, there are 12. And this camera focus is not cool. Which one of these cameras is going to work better? This one, the battery's dying. Oh, cool. But what you're going to do is in each one, yeah, where's the camera? This one. Okay. Fret cam. Fret cam. See, I labeled the, like, D, and then D sharp or E flat because they're the same. And then E, F sharp, F, and E. The ones that are the same, you know what I mean? If you know anything about music, you know that F could also be called E sharp, even though there is no E sharp. And F sharp is also a G flat. You know, they can be, depending on the key signature, is what they'll change what they call it. It all depends on the friggin' key signature at the beginning of the song on sheet music. But you make one of these for each, basically one of these for each of the keys on your keyboard, from G to A. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, yeah, G to F. And all the black keys too. So G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G. Okay, 12 all the way around. I know the lighting sucks and all that, but I think you're getting the idea, okay? Just put them all in in order. C, C sharp, D, D, F, G, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And that's just a round, perfectly round disc. Ooh, what's that? Ooh, I'll show you that in a minute. That's the secret formula. Okay. The second one, the one that you're going to fold it up again and make the same size segments. Okay? But notice these cutouts around the edge. What did I do? Why did I do that? Think about it for a second. What have I been talking about all night? Whole steps and half steps. Right? So, what do you think? These two right here close together. That's a half step, right? And then you got this big space. And then, so that would be a whole step. And then another whole step. Oh, so let's start counting. Wait, let's start on number 1. Number 1. So I wrote it with Roman numerals because if you start looking at music theory books and shit, you're gonna start seeing Roman numerals. I didn't do the capital lowercase, but I should have. But anyway, so you're starting with number 1. Do a whole step. So the first whole half, right? So you do your whole step, whole, and then a half, and then a whole, whole, and half. So there's that major scale pattern. This is why the notes don't matter. You need to know the pattern, okay? And then when you make the wheel and you put them all in order and put this on top of it, it blocks the, we'll say, if we're in the key of C, so we'll put 1 on C. So just to make the demonstration correct, 1. I lost my pin here. All right. I I just used another piece of paper from the paper plate. I rolled it up and I ripped a hole through and used that for a pin to put them together. Okay. Remember those little metal pins in school you push through and then you pull the two tabs out? I don't have any of those, so I just made one out of paper, okay? Anyone could, get a paper plate, cut up a couple pieces of paper. No special tools or anything, dude. This is really simple. So I put Roman numeral 1 on C, which can be also called B sharp, but we won't confuse you with that. Right, C. So number 2, the whole space is, oh, look at that, it's D, and it's in the right slot. And another whole step is E, or F flat. You can call it F flat, but it's E. And then the half step to F, there's your EF. Your EF half step, they're both there. It works so far. And another whole step, G, holy crap, it's working. Another whole step, A. Now, so that's the key of C, right? So what if someone says, hey, I want to write a song in the key of B. Put your Roman numeral 1 on B. Now this will show you all the notes in the key of B. So B would be number 1, right? And then the whole would be, what is that? C sharp. And then another whole step. This is weird because the camera it spins the other way that I'm pushing it. The D sharp, and then E, F sharp, G sharp, okay, and all the way back around to B. Now, each of these steps are labeled a major or minor. Like one step would be a minor from, so like say the Roman numeral number 1 being the root. Say you played a B chord, and then you want to know what chord you can play next that fits in this key. Well, but you want it to have a minor sound. Well, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3, and Roman numeral 6, and Roman numeral 7 are all technically minor steps. So let's say if I'm playing Roman numeral 1, a B in the key of B, and I wanted to play a minor, so we could play a D flat, which would be Roman numeral 2. Or we could play the B flat or the A sharp, you know what I mean? This will tell you, the minors and majors that fit in that key. Okay? And then another reason for the Roman numerals is this is why I didn't do the lowercase and capital. They do the capital for major, the lowercase for minor. But I did them all capital because the formula. Ooh. I'm going to, after this is done in the comments or after it's done processing, I'll do it in the description. I'll type this out. But what this is cool. Say, this is so random, okay? I'm going to write a song. Let's put it back in just C so all the notes are natural. Just for the sake of demonstration. So there's the regular C or B sharp is number 1. So if I'm starting a song and I want to start it with in C. I'm playing C. That's Roman numeral 1. That's my root. Okay. The formula 1 is most often followed by 4 and 5. So 1 is most often, so C, if you're playing C, most often you're going to go from C to G, which is 5, or F. So C, was it 4 and 5? I'm reading that right, yeah. So most often from C to F or G. 4 or 5. More often, go from C to G or C to F. And then C or 1 is sometimes followed by 6 or 2. So maybe instead of doing the usual, you go with the somewhat. Sometimes C would be followed by, what did I say? 6 or 2. So C, and go from C to A, which is the 6, or from C to D, which is the 2. So 1 is more often followed by 4 or 5, sometimes followed by 6 or 2, and least likely followed by 3 or 7. Those would be more dissident. You know what I mean? They have their purpose, and there's certain ways they end up sounding good, but this formula will tell you that it's least likely because it'll be a dissonant jump from this note to that note, or from this chord to that chord. Now, this formula does that for all 7. Say 1 is followed by this or this, this and this, or this and this, and less likely this. 2 is followed by this and, like I said, I'm going to type these down, but I don't know if you can. Plus sign means more likely. Plus and minus means yeah, and then the minus is like least likely. So let me see if I can get a good shot of this. If you pause or something, you might be able to get a screenshot, and I won't have to type it. Let me get my fingers out of the way. See up here, 1, and then the plus, so it's more likely followed by 4 and 5, sometimes followed by 6 and 2, least likely the other 2 leftover ones. And like I said, there's a formula for each. This side, there's a formula for 1, for 2, for 3, because it's not the same. You know what I mean? Because if you go from 1 to the, sometimes, not always, not most often, but sometimes 2. So if you go from 1 to 2, then you go down to the 2 on this thing. Okay, now what's 2 sometimes followed by? Or most likely followed by? And then say, so you went from 1 to 2, now you're going to go, it's most likely followed by 5 or this. So then we're going to go from 1 to 2 to 5. So what that would be in the key of C, you can try this on your guitar or piano. 1 to 2 to 5 is C, D, and G. Yeah, we like how many hundred songs are you just those 3 chords? Okay, using this formula, it will give your songs progression, and it gives you the what's the what's the term I'm looking for? Resolution. When you're building a progression, you're like, okay, where is this going to? Okay, where does this build up go? The formula will tell you. It'll tell you which ones to try, and then by ear, you'll say, oh, yeah, it was that. That's the one I needed. It will never fail, okay? So like I said, I'll type this out in a better format too. I'll write in the words is likely, most likely, least likely instead of the plus, plus minus, whatever. But that's the songwriting formula. And if you use this wheel, you can do a lot. You don't even need an instrument. You can do this all on paper. You say, hey, one, I'm going to start, let's do it in the key of D. So we'll put one on D, right? And okay, the song is going to start, though, with the B, which is actually the sixth from the root. So then you'd go on here. Okay, so six, we're starting out the song with six. So six is more likely followed by two or three, and sometimes followed by four and seven. Least likely by one and five. No matter where you start on it, follow the formula, and you know what I mean. That'll give you excellent progressions and resolutions. You know what I mean. It'll wrap a song up. Oh, I see. Yeah, Austin. Yeah, it's late, dude. Good night. I'm gonna hit the hay here too. I've been on for a little while. I just wanted to cram through all this and get to this and show you how to make this and how to use it. Um, this I don't use it enough. Like I said, I play by ear. I just jam out and make stuff. But if I wanted to sit down and write a song, like, hey, I've got these lyrics and I want it to be in this key, and you can use this and make an entire song. Make the all the chord progressions based on this. Hell, you could even, if you really wanted to, you could write a solo using this. But huge, huge tool for songwriting, especially with that formula, because that you just tried and true. That's the formula. I can't remember. I think it was a piano class. No, I think it was a music fundamentals class I took that we learned that. Because I remember we had to write a couple of songs on paper, and then the teacher and shit would play them, uh, and that's how we graded on how well they were playable and what they sounded like, you know. And they work, man. The formula works. Yeah, Marty Music says a lot of bands like Green Day. Yeah, a lot of bands, especially punk, use just those friggin' power chords. Yeah, it's no big deal. I'm about to wrap it up anyway. It's friggin' what is it? That's after midnight, dude. The witching hour is almost over. Wow, rolled right through the witching hour. I believe isn't that like from 11:30 to 12:30? The witching hour, the hour with midnight in the middle. I don't know if anybody's into Wicca. Yeah, I've been around. I've tried a lot of weird shit. Um, but yeah, and if anybody watching this now or on the replay has questions, or you know what I mean, feel free to hit me up, comments, or find me on Facebook, message me. Uh, I'll do anything I can to help. I mean, I don't fully understand all this stuff. This is just like my own research and crap that I found that kind of works, you know. And I'm hoping that I made it simple enough that a fresh beginner, never had a guitar before, can pick it up. Okay, that he said power chords, the two notes, one space, and hey, this sounds right. Of course, you gotta know how to tune the guitar for it to work. So I didn't touch on any of the tuning. Oh my god, other than drop D back and forth to E. But I hope this helps. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I've seen so many instances of people that have said they wanted to learn how to play. They tried. They bought a guitar. It sounded like crap. They gave up. They got frustrated and said, "Screw it." I hate to see that, man. I really do, because it's easier than people make it out to be. And just those power chords, like one day learn those power chords and you can be jamming along with a band. Get a drummer, a real drummer knows what they're doing. You can go up and not knowing anything and start jamming with that drummer with just those friggin' power chords. Just that one friggin' fingering everywhere. Just use your ear to figure out, start making your riffs up. Figure out the spacings you like. The sound from this one to this one sounds good, and then from there to there. Or use the formula. It's like, hey, well, this power chord is G. We'll make that the root. We'll put that on number one. So we're starting the song on G, that G power chord. Well, what do I use next? Where do I go from G? Da, 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 da. Okay, what's after G? Check the formula. Try those. Okay, da, 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 da. Yeah, that sounded good. Now, just follow the formula. It'll work. And like I said, probably tomorrow morning after this video has had time to be reviewed by whatever, because it stays in, like, if you have a YouTube channel, if you go to the library and go your videos, your live video won't be there. But if you go and click on my channel and it opens up your channel, you get the strip across start and it says live. You can click on that and it shows all your live sessions, including the current one. And when you're done with the live session, it doesn't go to that list of your videos right away. All right, it's like 24 hours or something like that. Well, when it's not in there, when it's still in that live section, you can't edit shit. At least not on mobile. You know what I mean? You can't edit the description. You can't change the thumbnail. You can't do anything. But you wait 24 hours until it's on your your videos list with all your stuff, and then you can edit it. So when it gets to that point, excuse me, cucumbers for with my supper, gassy. I'll type this up. Okay, and I don't know if there was any way I could maybe like scan this, like each individual piece, and maybe create a PDF that you can just print and cut it out instead of trying to fold it, and I don't know. But there's also other stuff I put on this. I don't know if you've noticed all this extra writing. The pentagram. I didn't touch on pentatonic scales, and that has something to do with that pentagram right there. It's pentatonic. I read somewhere that at one point, like, the Roman Catholic Church banned pentatonic scales, so it's evil because it's 5 notes, the 5 points, and if you put it in a cycle of keys and it actually makes a pentagram, the notes that are in a pentatonic scale actually form, the spacing makes an actual friggin' pentagram, which I thought was kind of cool. But it's the devil music, the pentagram. But if you think about it, the pentatonics are like the basics for all blues and shit. A lot of blues, a lot of gospel, a lot of church music probably ended up being written in pentatonic. I'd have to look at the sheet, check it out. But if you think about it, and blues and gospel they're in the same family. I don't see why you wouldn't find pentatonic spacing in some of your favorite hymns. But back in the day, it wasn't allowed. Way back, it wasn't. It was. They thought it was the friggin' because it sounds so good. That's the point. If it tastes good, if you really like it, it's bad. If it sounds good, it's bad. If it looks good, it's bad. But if it's hard and you have to struggle and that's good. Uh-huh. You play what sounds good to you. And if it's friggin' evil, fucking be evil, guys. Fucking rock on. I hope anything I've showed you helped. I'm always here. You can ask, And hopefully I'll be forcing myself to use some of these tricks. So it was years ago I started coming up with all these notes and doing all this research, and and then I backed off for a while. I got really rusty. Like I don't even remember how to play half the cover tunes I used to play. Yeah, that's how bad it is. I get so focused. Yeah, I became really career orientated, and it's like my brain says, okay, all this stuff, guitar stuff, yeah, all this metal fabrication, steel stuff, yeah, okay, we're gonna go. We're so, I'm trying to find a balance between and get back into the guitar. So hopefully, more cool stuff like the Tools of the Divine will be coming out of this studio soon. But anyway, stay cool. Record it, whether it sucks or not, dude, because you're gonna like having it years down the road. Um, I can't stress that enough. Just keep record it. It sucks, record it. If it's great, hey, you recorded it. Hey, now you have a proof. You know, just don't forget to hit that friggin' record button, guys. Even if nobody ever sees it but you, just press that damn button. Speaking of buttons, how many of you have hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification button? Hmm? Something to think about. Good night, folks. Peace.